Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for this time next year. We are going to jump right in here. You have this Star Blessings card and this Renewal and Rebirth card. Each row is going to represent something different based off of all of your suggestions. I did a post a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, whatever it was. And so each row is going to represent something different based off of your suggestions. So the first row is going to represent messages you need to hear before this time next year. And like I said, you have this Renewal and Rebirth and the Star Blessings. You also have the Ace of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. A lot of aces in these readings, which is interesting. Clearly there could be a lot of changes going on for a lot of people between now and this time next year, which kind of makes sense because, we've gone through some significant changes in the astrology. And so it would make sense that, it kind of takes astrology a while to warm up, and, it could easily take a year, if not longer, for people to step into those changes. And so the Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. And a lot of you could definitely be kind of like taking your life in a new direction. I feel for you, Aquarius, this is more of like an upgrade in your life, or it's like you're upgrading something. That's what I get. I feel that I don't, the Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. But that's not really what I feel for you necessarily. Like I don't feel you're completely letting go of something or completely leaving something behind. I think you're just upgrading what you already do, for most of you. Now, this is a general reading, so some of you absolutely could be completely leaving something behind if that's what you want to do. But, for most of you, I see this as more of like a creative upgrade, or, an upgrade to make something stand out more. You have the Star and the Judgment card. The Judgment card is underneath the Star here. They both wanted to come out together. And the Star is your card. And so the Judgment card would say, like, you are being rebirthed with the Star card. So a lot of you could be kind of living a more inspired life with the Ace of Wands. I do feel that the Ace of Wands is a card of living an inspired life, and you could be following your inspirations more. You could be, it's kind of interesting as well, because intuitively for you, Aquarius, I feel like people could be saying that you're scattered between now and this time next year. But, it's like, you have the High Priestess. The High Priestess can kind of represent what's going on below the surface, and I always tell people to be careful of what people are saying to you, because it's like they don't know everything about your life. So yeah, sure, people could be saying you're scattered. People could be saying you're spinning your tires or whatever, right? But really, they don't know what that is adding up to. So I would really be careful of listening to other people. That doesn't mean people are bad or anything like that. I would just be mostly listening to yourself, especially if you're creating something new. I feel like you're going to be very busy between now and this time next year. So I feel like you're going to be putting in a lot of work and a lot of focused work, which is good. The Eight of Pentacles, he's working on one thing, and he is almost done. I actually do feel that some of you have the opportunity to complete something at this time as well. So if you're like working on a project, or if you're thinking about, seeing an old project through to the end and completing it and, putting it out into the world, I feel now would be a great time to do that with this card. So I think that anything you want to complete, I would just focus on it and make it happen. I kind of do get that message as well, that I do feel you are becoming more of a finisher. And so if you have a habit in the past of not completing things, I just see you completing more things. I know that sounds lame, but it is a good thing. Usually if you see something through to the end and it's complete, you get more out of it. So I do feel that is a positive message, of course. You have the Queen of Wands. I feel this is probably one of the best energies that Aquarius could be embracing at this time. Queen of Wands is bold, assertive. Well, she really needs to be bold and assertive, but she also follows the sun. She has this sunflower right here. The sunflowers point towards the sun, and so she needs to move towards her joy, happiness, peace, things that bring her good feelings, and all that other stuff. But she's also my card of learning as you go. What's interesting about the reading is we actually go up to the moon. So, the sun might not be up yet in your life. It's kind of like you are wandering around and trying to, find your thing in life, or, you're trying to find something that defines you, Aquarius. And it's definitely going to be a journey, but, we'll see what comes up as we go throughout this reading. And so let's clarify this first row. With the Ace of Wands here, you have the Lovers. The Lovers, of course, could represent love. The last row is going to be your love row, but there definitely could be a new love connection coming in for you. For those of you that want it, we have the Ace of Cups right next to it. This would represent like a very strong, passionate connection, especially with the two aces. So if you want love, then you could be finding love like this year. And again, just it looks really good. So I like to see that. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Page of Wands. Yeah, the Page of Wands really follows his enthusiasm, and he really works on what makes him feel optimistic about the future. I feel that there's a lot of worrying about the future going on this year, especially. And so I would say that when you start to worry, that you should be focusing on what you can work on and what you can do. I've been telling people since like 2022 that my biggest fear between now and 2033 is that a lot of people are just going to worry about things that are happening and things that could happen that probably never will. And we're going to get to 2033 and people are going to look back on the last 10 years and they're say, I did nothing. All I did was worry. And so don't be one of those people. Work on what you can. Do what you can with what you got is kind of what I'm getting off of those cards. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Hermit. We all need to shine bright at this time. We all need to take up more space. I've been talking about this for years. I think we've already entered into the new earth, whatever you want to call it. And I feel the weirdness that everybody is feeling is just empty space that hasn't been filled with our good ideas yet, or with our businesses, or our ideas, or whatever. So I feel that the Hermit is really encouraging like everyone on earth to come down from the mountain to shine their inner light. You have the Star and the Judgment card, which would literally be coming down from the mountain to shine your inner light. So that's what I would do with that Hermit card, is get out of hermit mode for sure. We have a lot of, this right here is a lot of hermit mode energy. High Priestess. There's a theory that the High Priestess has her back to the world. And she might be doing that for a good reason, but she might need to come out of isolation. The moon can be very isolating as well, so I think it would be a great time for you to socialize, come out of isolation. Next, we're going to look at any big money or career shifts or financial shifts that could be coming in for you by this time next year. And you have this Yin energy card and this flexible card. Yes, all fixed signs need to practice yoga. All fixed signs need to be more flexible at this time. The other interesting thing about that Yin energy card, it's more like of a passive energy. And so this to me is saying that if you are trying to shift your finances, that there shouldn't be any like forcing something to work. Like it kind of tells me that the things that are going to work for you financially, even if you're retired and you're trying to improve your finances or whatever, the things that are going to work are probably going to be like simple, straight to the point, basic things that, sure, they're going to require effort, but, maybe not like a ton of effort. So I would stick to the basics in your finances, but that includes following the basic rules, right? Like doing your taxes on time, paying your bills on time, all that other stuff. So I know that sounds boring, and it is pretty freaking boring, Aquarius, but I kind of feel that by this time next year, that sticking to the basics financially and kind of like following the basic rules, like imagine if you were your grandfather or your grandma. It's like my grandfather like kept notes on all his finances, and like, he balanced his checkbook, which nobody does nowadays, and all that other stuff. So I would do, that's the type of stuff that I would be doing just to stay on top of it, right? You have the Ace of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Queen of Swords. I really feel it's time for Aquarius to do what they actually love to do. And the Ace of Cups is your heart. So as far as work and business is concerned, it's like, what is your heart telling you to do? And that's what I would be moving towards. You always get these cards of flow with me. The Ace of Cups, the cup can just reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So it's a card of like self-fulfillment, but it basically says in work or business, there are things that you can do that, there might be certain activities that you do that you could do endlessly all day long. And those are the things that you should be focusing on, is the work that creates more flow in your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean that work is easy, but, it could mean that it's easy for you. And those are the things I would be focusing on with this Ace of Cups energy, is the things that are like easier work-wise and financially. You have the High Priestess. I would dig deep into your finances this year. Everything, not just like your bills and things like that. But, the High Priestess represents mysteries. She represents needing to peek behind the curtain that's going on right here. So this would represent learning as much as you can about finances, or learning about different things like stocks or investing or things like that. She doesn't necessarily say that you need to do those things. She just says research, because you never know what could happen, right? And so I would be doing research financially. Same thing in work or business. I would be peeking behind the curtain. Are there ways to get into the flow? Are there ways to make more money? Are there certain activities that you do that do make you more money? And can you do more of those things? And, I would really be digging deep with this High Priestess energy. She's really the card of unlimited potential. There's no roof over her head. And the High Priestess can say that you really haven't reached your full heights yet as far as your finances are concerned. And, I feel there are some things that you could do to kind of greatly increase your finances, maybe not just right now, but into the future. And we have the Moon, Judgment, Star. The Moon would kind of represent exploring the unknown. The Moon says that, and it kind of makes sense with Pluto and Aquarius being innovative, right? Innovation is the moon. Not that the moon represents innovation, but when we do innovate, we are entering into the moon period, because the moon is part of the Fool's journey. The Fool has no freaking clue where he's going when he gets to the moon. He's doing something new. He's doing something different. And he needs to get to these mountains. Just like the Eight of Pentacles, he needs to see his journey through to the end. So if you are coming up with unique ideas or unique solutions or innovative solutions, there's going to be a period of time where you don't know what you're doing, but eventually you will figure it out, and you will probably be more successful because of it. You have the Queen of Swords. A lot of people in this set of readings have been getting the Queen of Swords. Kind of makes sense, because we had a ton of retrogrades since November. And, I think that over this year, we also have more retrogrades. Pluto will be going retrograde in a couple of days here. I'm shooting this video on May 3rd, so I think it's May 5th or 4th or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's the 5th that Pluto goes retrograde, so more retrogrades. Now, how much does Pluto retrograde affect us? Probably not much. Really, it's very far away, but still. And, soon enough, we'll have another Mercury retrograde this summer. So, like I said, I think that, this clarity is kind of building over this year. So by the time we get to this time next year, you probably are going to be much more clear on your direction in your life, and what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be working on, all that other good stuff. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Five of Pentacles. I kind of feel like something's missing here, Aquarius. It's it could be love. Sometimes I do think having love can improve our finances, especially if it's a good connection, right? And so that Five of Cups really, with the Five of Pentacles, could say that it's time for you to go look for a new connection, if that's what you want. Not telling you what to do, right? But, maybe it's time. The other thing that I would say here is that if you are feeling left out in the cold financially, it could be because you're working on something that isn't heart-based, that isn't connected to your heart, or you're doing something that isn't allowing you to get into the flow. And so that is definitely something, even though this row represents this time next year, your finances, that doesn't mean you shouldn't start working on this right now. And I would start trying to figure out how to get into the flow. With the High Priestess, you have the Seven of Cups. It is a very dreamy time, and the Seven of Cups is being spoiled for choice, having a lot of options. So the High Priestess is very intuitive, but she could be very dreamy as well. This guy here, he's looking at all the good things and bad things that could be coming in for him, and this could be financially, but he's not really doing anything about it. So I always say, it's with the Seven of Cups, sometimes I feel says, it's time to stop dreaming or imagining about something, and it's time to start doing something about something. And that's what I would do with the Seven of Cups, is instead of just dreaming about these changes you want to make in your finances, start doing the changes. With the Queen of Swords, you have the Judgment card, which you have twice in this reading, going in this direction up here. So the Judgment card, again, is your purpose. It's understanding your purpose. It's feeling a call to your purpose. This is your higher self angel. Your higher self angel is calling these people out of their coffins. The coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. And so they are being called to step into a new life. I feel like you are being called to be the star. You are the star, Aquarius. You are the star card. But I feel like you are being called to share your ideas, or to, put things out into the world, or to, start working on something that's important that will get you attention. And you have the Hermit, which basically says the same thing. So there could be a lot of attention if you answer the call to your purpose, or if you start living your purpose. This row is kind of giving me the vibes that not all of you, but I think some of you are doing something that you hate. And I feel like it's saying, don't do things you hate, especially in work or business. You can go get something else. Next row is going to represent what you need to hear right now, as well as some challenges. We're going to see if any challenges that you need to pay attention to. You have this Awakening Genius card. You are an Aquarius. You are a genius. So yes, I think you could be awakening to your genius. You have this Willing Release card. Yeah, what are you willing to release is what that card should say. It's like that Five of Pentacles with the Ace of Cups is really kind of like doing something that is not your passion, And I feel this is saying your genius is going to come from living your passion. One challenge that I feel for you is definitely this Moon card, is not knowing the future, Aquarius. So, plain and simple, I kind of feel this has been a challenge for a while for you. It's like you see things that you want. Star can be something that you're hoping or wishing for in your life. It's probably multiple things for you, Aquarius, where you're saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. And the Moon is like, yeah, but how the hell do you get there? But the Moon is about the journey, not the destination, to use a cliche in this reading. And I would say that you have to start the journey. The part of the Moon is we have to release our emotional armor. We have this lobster right here, and lobsters don't move around very well on land because they're wearing armor. So we have to be willing to be open emotionally to be successful in the first place. And it's just a simple fact of life. You can whine, you can cry, you can crap your pants about it, but it's not going to change the facts, right? That we have to be emotionally vulnerable to be successful. People always tell me that how they are protecting themselves in a connection. And I always say to those people, number one, go and heal. Don't, ruin someone in the future because you're not healed, right? Not calling you out, but totally am. Number two, it's like, yeah, you can protect yourself, but you can't be a porcupine in a relationship. You have to be emotionally open. If you're not, then you're not entering into the connection as you truly are. And really what I think it is, and again, I'm not picking on anyone here, but what I think it is that people try to control relationships that they get into without realizing it. It's like they think that if they hold back or something, that they're protecting yourself and the person's going to act a certain way. But I believe we can get past all the bullshit. All the bullshit that all the relationship experts give online. I think all of it is garbage. All of it. It can be much simpler. They're just overcomplicating something that is actually very simple. If you enter into a relationship as exactly as you are, if the person doesn't like it, screw them. Right? Move on to someone new, right? People spend and waste way too much time trying to change people without realizing it that are never going to change, right? Plain and simple. So we can end the madness right now. And the Moon says you have to kind of go on these journeys and figure it out. You have the Judgment card and the Star. Judgment is like your call to purpose. The Star is you. I think you are being called to be the Star. I feel the important thing here is that she's pouring that water onto the earth on the Star card, and that water is flowing out into the earth. The water comes from the pool of universal consciousness. The Star really does represent what's possible for one person is possible for everyone. So if there's something that you want to do, be, or have that you can see, then the Star basically says you can do it. So don't doubt yourself is kind of the energy I get here. Although I do feel very positive about these two cards in this reading. I kind of feel that you are glowing. I feel that you could be standing out, and really you could be the Star at this time. You have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is like a new person or something new coming into your life. If you are getting into a connection, the Star could absolutely say that there is going to be a period of education with a person, which usually there is. Usually if you're learning a new type of person, like there are things to learn, right? So that could be, I don't really think it's a challenge. I just think it's a thing. I also feel that you need to hear that it's time for a new beginning at this time with the Page of Pentacles. He can represent something new that you have to learn about. So I just feel it's time for a new beginning, Aquarius. With the Moon, you have the Strength card. Yes, you have to be strong enough to go down the path of the Moon. The Strength card is about quieting your inner voice. The lion is submitting to her on this card. It has its tail between its legs. And so she is getting the lion to, which represents her inner voice, to submit to her. And, to go down this path of the moon, you are probably going to have to control your inner voice or, do something with your inner voice. With the star and the judgment card, you have the Queen of Wands again. Queen of Wands is a card of seduction as well. So there definitely could be a ton of attention with the star and the Queen of Wands coming up for you. If you're looking for love, I would definitely put yourself out there. But she's also a card of having the confidence to learn as you go. And this is definitely a learn as you go reading where you are going to have to figure things out to learn as you go. And that's it. There's really nothing more to add. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Swords, letting go of those past disappointments, right? I really get that feeling on the Lobster, on the Moon card, that it's like some of you, and again, I'm not picking on anyone here, we've all done it. So, no one's perfect here, including me, for sure. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, of course. So I'm not trying to act all high and mighty here, Aquarius, but, what I would say is that I think there are things that you're doing that without realizing, it's like you trying to control the situation. I wish I had a better, I don't know, I need to spend some time thinking about this because, it's like I've had thoughts about this, but I don't really know how to verbalize it, where it's like, again, I think we do things to try to protect ourselves in connections that end up ruining it in the first place, where if we just entered in, we were emotionally open and vulnerable, and yes, I understand people don't want to get hurt, but at the same time, you can't avoid getting hurt. When I was younger, I was working at a cafe, a very slow road, and I watched a person get hit by a car. They died, and the person wasn't even going very fast. So it's like, what are you protecting yourself from? That's what that experience taught me, is that really you could get hit by a car going very slowly and die. Right? There's nothing that you can do to protect yourself. So I think people think they can protect themselves by, acting a certain way in connections, but they really can't. So I feel like the Ten of Swords is saying, don't fall into that and, let go of those past hurts because there's a new blessing that wants to come in. The Ten of Swords can represent a blessing in disguise. So it's like something new could be a blessing. Next row, we are going to look at love and relationships. This is all relationships in your life. You have this Take a Breath card, and here you go. You have the Take a Breath and Slow It Down. They're basically saying the same thing. If you're getting into a connection, there's no need to rush. There's no need to be overly protective of yourself. You just have to slow things down and take your time. And guess what? If the person doesn't like that, there's your answer, right? Again, I think by protecting ourselves, we prevent ourselves from getting an answer sooner, right? Because clearly, if we get into a connection, we see it isn't right, we can just leave if we're being honest with ourselves. But we all stay in things because who the hell knows why, right? So I feel this is saying if you take your time, you will be perfectly fine. You have the Justice card, the Five of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles. Justice is cause and effect, and it's also a card of paying attention to the evidence. So if you are getting into any new connections, not just love, but also, in work and business or working together with other people, I think as long as you're paying attention to the evidence of what's happening and you're taking a neutral perspective of the situation, then you will be able to make better choices in all connections, and you won't be blind to the issues that are happening. So I would really pay attention here. You have the Five of Pentacles. I don't know. I feel like you're attracting a person that has exactly the same issues that you do, Aquarius. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I think it's both. But I just, there's two people that are left out in the cold here. There are two people that are calling attention to their weaknesses. Five of Pentacles is about calling attention to your weaknesses. And so the Five of Pentacles, the solution is very simple. The solution is to focus on your strengths. Now, I think this will be bad, obviously, if you attract a person who's just like you and who is still acting too protected, or, who is still, focusing on the wrong things. And then you're going to have to be honest with yourself, and you're going to have to say this isn't right. I think there's nothing wrong with calling a person out. Actually, I recommend it. I think we should all call people out much sooner and say, hey, you're acting this way. It makes me feel weird. Why? And there might be a very simple explanation. The other thing about calling it out is the person might be like, why am I acting this way? And that might fix the problem. And then if it fixes the problem, then you found a person who's willing to put work into a relationship. Much, much better than anything else, right? If they don't fix the problem, leave. Plain and simple, right? You can tell the person like, hey, when you finally get over your ex, call me, right? But this isn't working right now. So you let me know when you get over yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with saying that, Aquarius. So, and you're an Aquarius. You're probably pretty blunt like me. So, there you go. That's what I would say. You have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles, though, is amazing. Three of Pentacles is like, I like the Three of Pentacles for relationships because it's like two people who are working towards a common goal. So I think in a lot of ways you could be attracting a person where it's like the two of you both have common goals. Maybe you're not exactly the same, but you kind of have similar ideas about how you want to live life or the way you want to create things. Outside of love, in all relationships, this is equally as amazing. This can say that people are coming in a support role, which I think I say to you all the time now, that, it seems to me that it's going to be important for you to make sure that the people that enter into your life, that they come in like a support position of like supporting your vision. This is your vision. And it's like the time of the Aquarius right now. It's time for you to be the star. So if you're, working on projects or businesses or ideas, getting people to help you is going to be a good thing. With the Justice card, you have the Six of Wands. I mean, really, this could be a victory in relationships. So I feel that a lot of you could be having a victory. This would also be people giving you credit. There are people that are celebrating his success. So for a lot of you, you could be getting credit for the work that you're doing. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Emperor. You could be attracting an Emperor. I would say this is someone who's more in control of their life. So they probably are not acting a bad way. Whenever I have a reading like this, it kind of tells me that either you're already dealing with a person that maybe you leave in the future, or that there could be multiple people coming in for you. I would be looking for the Emperor. I would be looking for the person that has their life together. I would be making the wise choice here. And, as long as you do that, I think things will go great. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles could be progress. So if you are working on any group projects or any business projects with a group of people, that definitely could represent a lot of progress that you're making towards your goal, which I really like. The Knight of Pentacles also can represent needing to start planting seeds. He has these empty fields behind him. He has the seed that he could easily plant in that field, and he could get it to grow. You have this Spear card. It says heartache over what you no longer have. You and Leo. I think that you and Leo definitely could be feeling a certain energy the most, which is wishing that things could be the way they used to be. And, I think that getting over that feeling and realizing that we're in a different time, that we can't do things the same way we used to in all areas of life, will help you move forward. You have this Heart card. It says love, deep affection, and caring. Yeah, definitely could be a very caring connection that's coming in for you. But again, I would be careful of any new connections, with porcupines, whether you're the porcupine or whether they are the porcupine, or you're both being porcupines, trying to quill each other. I would say that's not going to work. So that's definitely something I would pay attention to. And again, it's something that can be corrected by recognizing it and calling it out. That's why I bring this stuff up. Because, again, this could be a very good person, but maybe their head is up their ass, and you just need to call it out. And calling it out, well, they'll be like, why am I doing this, right? And so there you go. You have this Inkpot card. It says problems to be resolved. I do feel this for Aquarius, that there could, if there are going to be obstacles, of course, like for everybody, but your obstacles might be those little annoying obstacles, and I feel some of them could be avoided. So, if you're doing something important, the mistakes you make are probably going to be very basic. It's not going to be the complicated stuff that you mess up on. It's going to be like those simple little mistakes that you skip over. So I kind of feel like saying, Eight of Pentacles, be diligent with your work this time next year. Be diligent in, paying attention to like the order that you're doing things in. And, if you do that, you'll be fine. You have this Vine card. It says seek out information that will help you. It's an amazing time for learning just in general. So anything you're trying to grow or be successful at, the more you learn, the more you will earn with this energy. You have this Cobweb card. It says protected from negative forces beyond your control. Yes, you are protected at this time, and I feel like you need to realize that. And I feel like you need to live like that as well. Again, being vulnerable. We truly can't ever really protect ourselves from anything. Like we think we can, but we can't. Again, there have been people that have been hit by meteorites falling out of the sky, which is like a 1 in 1 quintillion chance of that happening to anyone. You have a better chance of winning the lottery multiple times than you do in getting hit by a meteorite. right? Same thing with lightning. You have like a 3 times more chance of winning the lottery than you do of getting struck by lightning. But people get struck by lightning all the time, right? I feel like that's what this card is saying for some reason. It's like saying there's nothing to worry about, right? And you have to let go of those fears. But this looks pretty good, Aquarius. I like where this is going. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy this time next year.